I was being scammed into becoming a scammer. Don't make my reason become my excuses. It's not something that's going to free up your time. It is so time consuming. Hi everyone, I hope you're well. I just wanted to come at you with a slightly different type of video today. I just feel like this subject needs to be spoken about. I wasn't going to bring anything up, I was just going to let it lie low because I know there's loads of other channels speaking on this type of thing. But recently, whilst I've been listening to my podcasts, which I do quite often, most of them are quite like mummy podcasts that I listen to, and a lot of them have been surrounding promoting this scam business that I'm going to talk to you about today. I know there's loads of them out there and there's not just one specific one, but I actually got like lured into it when Theo was just a few months old, and I feel like they do it quite a lot to young mums in particular because they're quite vulnerable. They all the time they always target vulnerable people anyway, but I feel like a lot of the vulnerable people they do target are young mums because they know that they're in a position that they need money and they need to be with their child. And you know, most mums, any mum doesn't want to go back to work. Well, not that I've met anyway, I'm sure there's some out there, but a lot of mums don't want to go back to work once they've had their child. They'd much rather be able to work from home and earn that money that way. The company I'm going to be talking to you about today is Arbonne. I, in October of 2019, was told about Arbonne and I guess scammed into joining. I was told all these different things. I was going to make it be easy to make money and that I'd be able to stay home with my son. I was told a lot of different things, and when I look back now, it was so stupid of me, but I was in such a vulnerable position. My son was 3 months old, and a lot is going on in your mind when you're only that far after pregnancy. So I'm sure you know what it is, but if you don't know what Arbonne is, it's a health and wellness business that doesn't sell in shops. It doesn't promote anywhere, it doesn't have advertising, apart from the people who become the consultants. And when you become a consultant, it basically means that you need to basically live, breathe and sleep Arbonne. But when you're joining, you're not told that. You're told, you know, you can have all the time you need. This is a business for people who don't have much time, and that is just not the case. You're told to be sending like 30 messages a day to different people trying to recruit them, and when you recruit them, you don't earn money per se when you recruit them, but you do earn a commission when they buy stuff, which you're told to persuade them to do. So when I joined especially, they gave you free sign up if you purchased a certain amount of products. And these products, the minimum it would cost you to purchase them to qualify for free sign up would be like £70, which for someone who doesn't have a lot of money is a lot of money. Yeah, and so I did sign up because at the time I thought that it was the right thing to do. I thought this is going to be a really amazing business. I'm going to be able to work from home and stay home with Theo. I won't have to go back to work. And reality, that's just not the case. So when joining Arbonne, I was told, you know, a lot of people will say this is a pyramid scheme, but it's not a pyramid scheme. And in all honesty, I was quite naive. I didn't even know what a pyramid scheme was, so I hadn't even thought of that. And so they just said to me, you know, a pyramid scheme is something that doesn't have any products. You sign up and then you get so many other people to sign up and you all pay to sign up, and in the end you all end up with more money somehow, which is just confusing anyway. So Arbonne is a pyramid scheme, but they just have products to disguise it, because although you're not earning money when you recruit someone, you're encouraging them to buy products when they are recruited, which then earns you commission. And they also do a bonus in which when you recruit 2 people, you earn a bonus, which is getting money. You're getting paid to recruit people, which is a pyramid scheme. And obviously, not knowing what a pyramid scheme really was at first, I didn't understand what I'd gotten myself into. But yeah, so I just thought, this is my chance to put this out to whoever I can and just warn them that it's not all that it's made out to be. You're told that it's made for people who don't have time, and it's really not. It takes over your life. So you wake up and you're told you have to do your miracle morning, which, don't get me wrong, I do my own miracle morning. I get up and I go for runs and I do my exercise and I do my affirmations, but that's all my own choice. I was told that I had to do this, and if I wasn't doing this, then that was why I was failing. But realistically, 98, 97, probably even 99% of people fail at MLMs because they're not made so everyone is able to do it. Because if everyone was able to do it and get to the top, you wouldn't be able to recruit any more people because everyone would already have been recruited. And it's just an ongoing cycle. Recently, I've been listening to my podcasts, and a lot of the mummy podcast people have had people on their shows who are promoting Arbonne. And I just don't think it's right when you've got that type of influence that you're doing that. I understand some people haven't done their research, but if you're not going to join yourself, why would you allow someone to promote that on your channel? If you have looked into it and decided that's not for me, why are you allowing that person to speak about it on your podcast or on your channel? Because you're a very influential person and you're allowing that message to get across to more young mums, especially because it's a mummy podcast, and I just don't think that's right. When I was recruited, I was sent, obviously, a message that I now realise is just a generalised message that is just changed and tweaked depending on who you're sending it to. But at the time, when you're reading it and you're vulnerable and you need money and you're looking for something to do, you don't see it as that. You see that message as, oh my goodness, this person's come across my page and they've really enjoyed it. Like, they want me to join their team because they think that I'm good at it, especially because at the time I was promoting a different company. I wasn't working them, I wasn't getting any money. It was just something that I enjoyed using, and so I was promoting them. And from that, this person had messaged me. In my first month, I was told that I should be getting enough qualifying volume, which is the amount of like points almost you have to get to be able to get promoted to the next level. The first level is a district manager, and I was told, you know, you should be able to do that. I was told that you should be getting, I think you needed like 1,000 to qualify, to get into the qualifying zone, so you wouldn't even qualify for that. And like in transition to pounds, 1,000 QV is more or less £1,000, which just is not on. I know when you become a consultant, you do get a percentage off, but it's still a lot of money. That's still a lot of money to be spent, and it just wasn't good. So my second month, I obviously in the first month hadn't hit it, and my second month I was told, you know, you need to be sending out messages to people, recruiting people. I recruited 2 people whilst I was doing this. One was one of my friends who I don't believe does it anymore. She doesn't promote it much, if she does. And one was my sister, who only joined to help me out because she was being a nice sister. When I was first contacted, it was all through Instagram. and then she asked me to do a FaceTime, which I was like, okay, because obviously, as I said before, I was very vulnerable. I just needed a way to make money so I wouldn't have to go back to work. And I just went ahead with it. So we had this FaceTime. Honestly, I cannot remember what happened because I don't really remember much of that sort of time. I was so tired all the time. But I was constantly told that, you know, I needed to be buying stuff for one, because I should be living, breathing, working this product to be able to sell it. And like, the products are expensive, they're not cheap. And so I did buy a few things, and then I was told as well that because the more qualifying volume I got, it then also went into my upline's qualifying volume for them to promote. And I think this girl needed a few more like points to promote, and she was basically saying you need to buy as much as you can because you need to have a product basket of stuff that you can lend out to people so they can try it and then see that they love the products, and they can come back and you can recruit them. I don't know why I went along with it, but I didn't have the money to do it, and so I tried to make up an excuse and said, you know what, I don't get paid until like a little while. And so they basically were like, that's fine, this upline will buy it for you and you can just pay them back. And at this point I was sort of like, I don't really know what else to do. I didn't know how to say no, and I felt like I was in a very awkward situation, and it just sort of went ahead, and I ended up having to get a loan out to pay for these products, which then I obviously had to pay more on because it was a loan and it was such high interest. It was ridiculous. I have now paid off that loan because I was lucky enough to come into some money in another way, but it was ridiculous. And the way everything went about it, because I was in such a tired mental state all the time because I had a newborn, I didn't really process what was going on, and I didn't really think about what I was doing, and I just don't want it to keep continuing to happen to other people. Throughout this whole time, whilst I was in Arbonne, I never made, I think the most I made was about £20, if that, because I did manage to get someone who bought the products. I didn't recruit them, they just bought the products from me. But they stopped obviously because the products really aren't that great. They're not as great as people say, and so they stopped buying. I didn't make any more money, and I'd actually lost money because not only had I had to get all these products that I didn't actually want in the first place, I then also had the loan that I had to pay off and pay interest on, which was more than the £20 I earned. So all in all, I lost money. Another thing they do is they tell you, know, when you join, there's free training all the time, but the training you have to be on a Zoom call at least once a week, and if you're not there, you get pointed out for not being on that call. On top of that, they also do another Zoom call for something else, and for someone who doesn't have time and doesn't have the money, this is just, it's not ideal. Yes, you can do it from the comfort of your home, but for me, I was a new mum. I had a child, I had a baby with me all the time. I didn't have time to be on these Zoom calls to be taking notes, and if you weren't taking notes, they'd tell you, because they could see you on your Zoom, because if you weren't on camera, they'd say to you, we want to see all your faces, you need to turn up, you need to show people that you're here. I was a new mum breastfeeding my baby. I didn't want to be on camera. On top of that, you're then told, I know, especially for me, my second month of being there, I was told I needed to go to the Christmas party and to the leadership academy they had in November, which actually happened to be on my birthday. So obviously I didn't want to go. Another reason is I'm in the southeast of England, right down near Brighton. This was all the way in Derby. I did not want to be travelling 4 hours with a 3-month-old baby all the way to Derby on my birthday for a Christmas party and a leadership training that I had to pay for after being told that all the training was free. It just wasn't my cup of tea, and I can't imagine it being many people's cup of tea. When I explained this to them, I was told it's baby friendly, you can bring your baby along. I don't really want my baby to sit in the car seat for 4 hours all the way up to Derby. No thank you. It's also not very safe. So after I declined that one, they sort of were okay with it because it was like only my second month of being there. But then came to January when there was another leadership academy in which I then again had to pay for. My sister actually came with me because I felt like I had to go. This is how I was going to learn about the products. This is how I was going to sell everything and make some money. So I went. I actually took another girl with me who told me she'd give me some petrol money and never did. She just moaned the whole way there and the whole way back. I actually had to leave early because, you know, I had to take my baby with me because I was still breastfeeding, and I still am. I was told it's baby friendly, and it's really not, because anyone who has a baby is sent to the back of the room. You have to sit at the back of the room, and if your baby starts crying, you can't stay in there. You have to leave. Like, get out that room and go and sort your baby out. Well, that's how I felt anyway, because everyone else who had a baby either had their partner there to help them, and the partner was looking after the baby whilst they were sat at the front listening, or they just sat down at the back playing. And realistically, why should I have had to pay for something when I wasn't learning anything? I was sat at the back making sure my baby didn't cry so it didn't annoy anyone. On top of that, none of the training was on any of the products. The training was all on recruiting people and how you should be recruiting people and how you should be doing your miracle morning every morning. And how am I meant to sell these products if I don't know anything about them? So we had that. The training was crap. I had to pay for a training that I didn't actually get, that I actually also left early for because I had my baby with me. When I got home, I didn't feel like I'd learned anything. I just felt like I'd wasted money and I had wasted a day because I learned nothing. And they say, you know, you'll make friends for life, and realistically I didn't. It was cold outside. All the other girls that I was there in my team all went outside and were chatting and having their lunch together whilst I was sat inside with my baby so he didn't get cold. So they were all taking photos, uploading them to Instagram, saying this is my team, you know, we're all girl bosses. So I just felt very isolated whilst I was there. When I came back, I just felt like rubbish. And then on top of that, you're also feeling isolated anyway, because you feel like all you're ever talking to your friends about is this business, because that's what you're told is the right thing to do by your upline. On the subject of uplines, one of the women who's right at the top of everything, she's earning a bucket load because she's earning so much commission for doing absolutely nothing because everyone else is doing it. She does SoundClouds and does podcasts, and also did a training for us once. On the training, she told us if you're not a district manager by your second month in, you might as well be dead on the pavement, which was a lovely thing to hear. Bearing in mind, one of the uplines in my team was one of the like regional or national vice presidents, which is the highest rank you can get, but she's like the highest in England, and she didn't recruit anyone for like 18 months, so she wasn't earning money for 18 months, and yet we were told by this other woman that if you hadn't recruited by your second month, then you might as well be dead on the pavement. And after this, I just sort of realised, like, this is not right. I spoke to my lovely friend Alice, I spoke to her about it, and she was like, I've not heard very good things about this. She sent me some videos, and granted, I should have done more research at the time, which I didn't, so that is my own fault. But also, I couldn't find much when I looked. I don't know if I just wasn't looking in the right places, or if maybe at the time I just didn't want to find anything because I wanted something to work. But this is my message to anyone who's looking to do this. Don't, because you're going to lose money. You're not going to make the money that they say you're going to make. It's not something that's going to free up your time. It is so time consuming, and the products are not good. You don't learn about the products. You're made to feel bad if you can't attend something, or if you can't attend a Zoom call. And if you don't help your upline get to their point, they do not want to be your friend. If you don't help your upline get to where they want to be, then they are not your friend. And that to me is just not the right way to go around things. When I messaged my upline and said, you know, this isn't really working for me, a big thing when you join is that you have to find your why. Why is this going to work for you? Why do you want this? And obviously my why is because I wanted to stay home with my baby. When I told her I could no longer do it because it was too time consuming and I had to focus more on my son, he told me not to don't make my reason become my excuses, which I just thought was so rude, because why should I prioritise this business that's making me no money over my son? So obviously when you join, you're made to feel like this is the best thing in the world. Realistically, I was being scammed into becoming a scammer. And I look back now, I'm so glad I'm out of it. In a way, I'm glad I went through it just purely so I can be here and say to you, don't do it. But if I'd have gone back, I would have looked a lot harder. I would have researched a lot more. A lot of people going to MLMs, not realising, and then are told it's their own fault that they failed, and it's not. It's failed because it's a pyramid scheme and it's a scam. I hope you've all enjoyed this video. I know it's been slightly different than my usual videos recently, but I just felt like it needed to come out and I needed to tell you all, because it's not okay that they're targeting vulnerable people such as young mums, who is a lot of my audience. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments or message me privately. I'm always open to answer any questions that you may have. Don't forget to subscribe. If you'd like more videos like this, please let me know, because I'm more than happy to give you some more info on what type of thing went on and things like that. And I'll see you next week.